Hey guys, how's it going? It's Wren again, and today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the LCD screen on an iPod Touch 3rd Gen. So, this is the iPod Touch in question. When I first looked at the listing, this issue was a little bit less bad. It was only this area of the screen, but as you can see, it's expanded to the entire horizontal width of the screen in some areas. So, let's get our parts out and start this. So what you're going to need is some sort of prying tool. I have an iFixit kit, so I use this kind of like a spudging prying tool. And you're going to want to basically get underneath the glass. And you can try either way. Sometimes prying out works a little bit better for me, but I'm going to try to pry up first. You're also going to need one of these. Well, you're not going to need it, but it's going to be helpful. And having other things like a guitar pick or a plastic spudger would also be helpful. So, without further ado, let's start. So you're going to start just in the middle of the device. What you're going to do is, as you're going around, you're going to pop each one of these tabs. You're going to hear a click each time you do that, like that. Let me see if I work this bad boy in here. We've got that. Come on. And as you're doing this, you're going to want to be careful to make sure that you're not, damaging the LCD underneath at any point during the process. This would be if you cracked your front glass and needed to only do a digitizer replacement. But for us, we don't really care all that much about the condition of the LCD screen once we're done with it. So we're not going to be too incredibly careful. Alright, I'm going to take this and work this in here. And we're in! Awesome! Once you're done with that, you can set off your digitizer off to the side. Make sure you use that later. There's a little bit of a connection on it, like a ribbon cable that slots into a connector on the board. Now you're going to want to be careful with that. I've already taken this apart once, so mine is nice and loose, not damaged, but it's not stuck. But yours is going to not have been touched in more than a decade, potentially, so you're going to want to be careful with it, and if you meet some resistance at the top left corner, make sure that you're not ripping that out. Anyway, going back to what I was doing earlier, so you're going to have your LCD here. And there's going to be like a whole kind of system of keeping it in place. Now, I have not done research as to exactly which connectors go to what, but I'm just going to do the shotgun approach of taking them all out, and then attempting to slide the screen out, and if I meet any resistance, looking over it again and seeing if I've missed anything. Alright, there's one connector down. Let me see, are there any other... You know, it appears that's the only connector that I have to deal with, so I think I'm good. Alright, well I've gotten between the backlight and the main LCD layer. Let me see if there's anything I need to do here. Huh, so it appears that there's actually a plate down here that the backlight is attached to. I can always just edit this out if this is wrong, or add a little disclaimer or a note down below, but yeah, let me get some other tools for that. Alright guys, I'm back. Ran into a little bit of an issue. I was not able to find my iFixit precision driver, but I've got this old janky thing laying around. So yeah, I'll just make an excuse and say that this is proof that you can make anything work, but in reality, I just couldn't find the thing that I wanted to use. Anyway, going back to what I was doing, you're going to have several small screws along, like the base plate, or like the perimeter of your device. I'm not sure if they're 000 or 00, but I'm going to assume that they're 000, and hope that that works out. Anyway, not going to stall anymore, let's get to taking this apart. See, alright, got screw number 1. And this is where not having hand tremors comes in really, really helpful. Let's rotate this around to the other side. Okay, we've removed that. Let's rotate this around to a more appropriate place for where it is in relationship to the device. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it's any worse or better compared to the newer devices. I mean, they all kind of suck, but you're going to want to make sure that you remember exactly where each of these screws came from, or you're going to want to go to an iFixit guide to be able to have a better idea of where they came from if you misplace them and mix them up or something like that. Because, let me see, is that the case here? Yes, it is the case. All of them are a different length, and some of them are a different width as well, so you're going to want to be careful to make sure that you're not stripping out any of the screws or screw sockets as you're screwing them back in. Wow, how many times could I have said screw in that sentence? I think I was getting close to the max there. Alright, so it appears that this is still not wanting to come out. I'm going to try to gently pry up on it a bit. You're going to want to not put too much force here. Oh, let me see, is that it? I believe that's it. I'll compare that against our new one. Let me look at the back of this and see if doing it properly. Okay, so you've got this that comes around and wraps around the bottom. Compared to this, let me see, where is that ribbon cable? Alright, looks like we've reached another step that I didn't know we had. Alright, so you're going to find several Phillips head screws inside here as well, and I'm going to start with taking them out. Let me try getting this really quick. Am I just boring that out, or am I actually removing it? Alright, we're back. Sorry if the angle changed too much. Let me fix that. Distortion in this very quick. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, this is a very, very, very small, you gonna focus? You get the point. It is a very small flathead bit, and we are going to try to get that little pesky screw out that doesn't want to come. Okay, I'm getting it to turn a little bit. Oh, there we go, finally got it. Yeah, I don't know what it was with that screw, but all of my drivers just wanted to kind of spin freely in the socket without actually getting it out. But now that we've gotten those screws, it's a pretty simple matter of prying this up. Or God, I hope. Yep, it is, okay. It's a pretty simple matter of prying this up and dealing with the ribbon cables that are underneath here. Okay, that whole assembly's kind of coming up. I'm gonna try to puncture this with this flathead driver and just cut away this little bit of tape. And that was successful. I never want to ever do that again. Ah, yes, there we go. Alright, so we've gotten the original LCD out. Looks like we would have had to take off that back plate regardless of what we were going to be doing, but yeah, little reflective bit in there. Let me set this off to the side and grab the new screen. I'm going to angle this up a bit, slide this in right there, come on. That's imperfect, but the tape's back down anyway. Who cares? And we'll take this, fold this around the back. Alright, we got that pressed down. Awesome. So now that we've done this, we are going to take the screws that we took out of the back here. This is going to be fun to edit down, isn't it? And get that in there. Let me see. Okay, we've got one over here. And the rest are God knows where. Okay, give me a minute. I'll be back after I find those. Alright, we're back. I have managed to find 2 of these screws. We're still missing one, but you know what? That's kind of inevitable when you're working on older ones like this. I'd go out on a whim and say that having 3 out of 4 screws on this side is not going to ruin anything. It would be better to have 3/4 of your screws on one side and all of the screws on one side than to have 2/3 of the screws on one side and all of them on the other. Let me take this black screw right here, put this in. Perfect. Alright. Alright, now we are getting right towards the tail end of this repair. Let me flip this around. That way it lines up with all of these screws that I have taken out. Alright, and now I am going to take a little bit of foaming glass cleaner and clean the back of the digitizer assembly. Take a little bit of this Windex foaming glass cleaner. Yeah, it's not foaming as much as I want it to, but oh well. Take a little bit of that, put that along the back, get a microfiber cloth, take care of that until it's dry, or if you want to speed it up, flip it over to a dry part of the microfiber cloth. Then, I mean, if you've got a can of compressed air, that's great, but it's also helpful to just wipe it with a little microfiber cloth in here. Make sure that nothing is wet or, you know, that nothing's messed up. Let me see. I'm gonna make sure that there's no dust along here, because I hate that thing where you'll drop it under the bed or something like that, and then there will be like new dust that's come from some random place to be behind the screen. Anyway, let's take this, peel that off, and get this down as quickly as we can. Alright, great. Oh, I almost forgot one more thing. You're going to want to take this against any kind of a hard surface, and you're going to want to try to press into the sides to bend them back in place, because during this process, you may have bent the aluminum panels out. Now, when I got mine, there was already some backlight bleed. And it appears there's going to be the same amount that there was before in terms of backlight bleed and in terms of the gap between the glass and the outer panel. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm happy with it. You're going to want to make sure all of the little tabs click into place. Why not? Get a little bit of foaming glass on the front there. Wipe that off and... Oh, wow. I did not turn this off while I was working on it. That's a little bit dumb. Don't do that. Make sure you turn it off first. But, let me try to power this back on. Yes, there we go. Okay, I was very worried. That was taking quite a long time to be able to get working again. Alright, and we're back. Awesome. Alright, great. Let me turn up the volume a little bit. Speakers working? Yes, they are. Perfect. Now let me turn up my brightness a bit. Alright, perfect. That looks good. And my home button is not working. That's something I'm going to try to fix real quick. Alright, so I'm going to move this up to the screen so that you guys can see. You see, I believe that's showing the problem. Pull this up. This little tiny gold thing is the problem. This is what has been broken. Basically, this is supposed to be affixed to this like whole little board down here. And whenever the tip touches it, it activates the home button. So, for right now, there's not a working home button, but that is going to be something that we address in a future video. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. We were successful in replacing the LCD. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. We were successful in replacing the LCD, but we introduced another problem along the way. I'm going to be making another video. Maybe I'll work on it today, film it today, but I'm going to be posting it probably tomorrow or the day after that. But yeah, we're going to make another video trying to replace this home button assembly at the bottom of the device. But yeah, I'm assuming that that is something that can be soldered in, but part of me is nervous that it might be spot welded. So I'm going to look up a guide for that and see what to do. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.